Hello, this is Sandra Champlain, author of the international best-selling book called We Don't Die, A Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death, and I'm also the host of We Don't Die radio show. What you are about to hear was recorded on Thursday, November 23rd at Banyan Retreat in Ashford, Kent, in the UK. Physical medium Scott Milligan was sitting in the trance state, and his friend, Eric, who lived until the end of the 1800s, spoke through him during a question and answer period. For more information about Scott, visit scottmilligan.net, and to know more about the fascinating retreats, you can visit banyanretreat.com. This audio clip is the response I received when I asked Eric if there is a purpose to human suffering, whether it is caused by the pain of the body or grief and sadness that we may feel. Here is his response.
Let us move along.
Thank you, Sandra.
Hello, my dear. I trust that you are well.
I am. I'm great. My question is this. There's suffering that comes from pain of the body and diseases, and suffering that comes from grief. Is there a purpose for the pain and suffering we humans feel while we're walking the earth?
Well, I have to say to you, it does help to enrich the soul's experience, because you won't experience it in our world. We do experience emotion and remembered of the emotion of the earth when we draw close to people like yourself. We are reminded of it. Why do you not think when we commune with you, we say, oh, I suffered terribly, and give you our conditions of how we were removed from the physical form? But may I say this to you, your question about it, if it is a purpose, it is a byproduct of being alive. Your body is fragile. It is full of sins. The body is a miracle in itself. Once you are born, it starts to kill itself. But it kills itself so it can renew. I find it very fascinating. May I say this to you? And I am answering your question by saying this. I find it fascinating if you are to cut the skin and it causes such pain, how the body then learns how to cope with it. How it starts to bring what has been separated back together. But I find it very, very fascinating. But I have to say to you, when you are alive and experience it for yourself, it is terribly distressing. But the only hope I can give you is it is only for a short period of time. When you come to our side of life, it goes back to the earth. The physical pain, the memory, yes, comes with you until you come to a place of a state of familiarity, where everything is familiar to you and you receive the proper healing, if you could say it like that, or education. And then you can move into the greater world of spirit. I've used this analogy many a time, and I may share it now. And please forgive me if a young man has tried to echo these thoughts. But these are my words now. Young Daniel and myself met a lovely Jewish lady who died on the lavatory. It caused her most embarrassment when we said, how did you come to our side of life? She said, I was on the lavatory, felt faint, and that was it. And I said to her, along with young Daniel, can you describe to me what you experienced? And she expressed to me that the death was like the very first time she stepped upon an aeroplane. I hope I am pronouncing that correctly. Yes. An aeroplane. When you first step on an aeroplane, it is the fear of the unknown. You take your seat and you settle in, and it seems very peaceful until it starts to move. And as it starts to move, fear sets in. And then you become accustomed to that new vibration, and then you relax again, and then all of a sudden something knocks the plane and causes it to shake. And it may be a little bit bumpy along the way. Others are experiencing the same at this moment. But when the plane lands and the doors open as you step off this plane, you realize then what all the fuss was about. And that is what death was described to us. The fear, the pain at times. But at the moment of arrival, as your eyes close to this world, as you open them, all the pain is instantaneously washed away. And you look and you say, why did I fear it? We hear the cries of those who are left behind, and that causes us distress. Because it doesn't matter how loud we shout and say they are still with you. Sadly, the earthly ears do not hear. So we have to come in dreams. But then, when you awake and tears stream down your face, you say, oh, it was only a dream. And we have to work incredibly hard to convince you, to allow you to live again. If I was able to speak to God on your behalf, and I say, could you do creation again? But this time, give them the knowledge. But then I fear, if you know how it is within our world, will you live your earthly life? Or would you choose to end your life? Because you realize that this world is extremely heavy and can be extremely cruel. But with the heavy and cruelness, there's light, happiness, love. When your tears fall at the moment that someone leaves you and they join us in our world, we know that you know love. We feel it. We draw close to give you a healing balm if we can, to wipe away those tears and embrace you and say, now, it will be okay. In your world, people leave you. In our world, people join you. And so they will leave you for a moment in your world, physically. But when it is your time, when our world surrounds you, and we get excited that you're arriving, and you're slowing down the plane by saying, I am not doing it, I am not going, and causing such fuss. We wash over you a sense of calm, because your soul knows the natural progression to our world. So in answer to your question, it is a byproduct of being alive. The body is sensitive. The soul is experiencing it and saying, I've never experienced this before and I don't like it. Or I experienced this before and I want it again and again and again and again. Because once it comes to our side of life, it may not have that earthly pleasure anymore. Young Daniel, I find it quite fascinating when he grows close to your world in matters of seances, and he speaks about the devil's brew. Seeing the excitement, and then when he draws back, he goes, I miss it. I cannot have it over here, not as I remember it. But then the weakness sets in with myself with chestnuts. Seeing those godly things on the floor, it's mouth-watering to say the least. And then he laughs when I go back and I say, oh, if only for a moment. He gets his own back on me. Time is against me. Let us move along.
Okay.
Thank you, my dear.
Do we have another question?
I invite you to experience the miraculous and take a visit to Banyan Retreat in the future. Banyan holds Whispers from the Soul in the springtime and Voices of the Past in the fall, and they have many other incredible events. And you can go to banyanretreat.com to find out more. You can also visit scottmilligan.net, as he is a physical medium, a tutor, and is just a wonderful human being. Feel free to listen to my show too, WeDon'tDieRadio.com. Thank you for listening.